just push it. Okay. Good afternoon. I will call to order the September 27th meeting of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority. Under items from the chairman, we have a couple of introductions. First, I'd like to introduce Tiffany Ramirez, who's the new surrogate for the mayor for the River Trust. Tiffany, we're glad to have you. Say a few words about yourself.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I've been in Oklahoma since 2008, so it's been pretty great to see everything that has been happening. So really excited to be here with you guys.
Oh, good. Don't hesitate to ask any questions. We tend to go through this pretty fast sometimes, and if we get ahead of you, just stop us and ask a question, okay? Welcome again. Secondly, Trisha Finnegan is the new president and CEO of the Oklahoma City Community Foundation, and we are certainly glad to have her here, and welcome to Oklahoma City and to the foundation.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I'm asking some very basic questions of my friends and neighbors, learning as I go, but I am the new president and CEO at the Oklahoma City Community Foundation. I have been on the job for about 7 weeks. So very, very new. I am not new, however, to community philanthropy or to social change or several other sectors. So I have had about a 25-year career, the last 8 years of which have been at community foundations. I come to you from Louisville, Kentucky, a community that many Oklahoma City folks know a lot about because we have a lot in common, and our mayors have worked closely together over several terms. So I was the Chief Strategy Officer and Senior Vice President at the Community Foundation in Louisville, Kentucky. My charge was really to grow partnerships and to bring more people together to invest in our community. And that's what the trustees at the Oklahoma City Community Foundation were seeking for the next leader of our foundation here. So it is an honor to be here. It was a nationwide search. And somehow or another they landed on me. So it's an honor to be here. We are an asset, we are a strong asset, and we have so much more that we can be doing. And so my door is open. I'm eager to speak with anyone who has input about how the foundation can serve. And Mr. Chairman, I'm very grateful to have been invited to join you today.
Good. Thank you
I know
very
you've
much.
only been here 7 weeks, but any new plans, goals, aspirations?
Well, I'm listening now, I will say. I have a lot of things that I know are possible. I've worked with community foundations across the United States as well as across the entire country of Canada. So I'm really versed in what community foundations can do. And if you got me into a room with a whiteboard, I could draw out some ideas. But what I'm trying to do right now is to make sure that the Oklahoma City Community Foundation is here in service of the people and the institutions that are here. And so that really does require me listening before I form some of my own plans.
Yeah, for just a quick comment for Tiffany's, we have a long relationship with the Community Foundation, specifically for the River Trust. There's a endowment that was created throughout the years, and the interest off that endowment is something that we can use for projects along the river, and we work with them very closely on that. So that's the relationship between the River Trust and the Community Foundation. So, and we'll be dealing with that later on with something too. So, welcome again.
Thank you all so much.
Item 3 is the minutes from the August 30 meeting. Any changes or corrections? We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. And that passes. Item 4 is the consent docket. We have an oil and gas revenue report, a river corridor events update, and the limited revocable rowing and paddle use permit for October 1 this year through September 30 of 2023. The revocable rowing permit is something we do every year. River Sport Foundation puts that forward to be able to use the river down there in front of their boathouses. And again, it's something we have to do every year. So, any questions on that? I need a motion on the consent docket. Cast your vote. And that passes. Item 5 is the primary agenda items. Item A is the Oklahoma City Community Foundation Endowment Fund Report for the fiscal year ending June 30. And that report is in there showing where we're at. If you have any questions, Ms. Finnegan would be happy to answer them. We have, just as a side note, next month you'll be getting a report on the items that we looked at that the fund money from the Community Foundation could be used for on the river. And we asked some time ago to have more detailed information on the cost of those things. And we will have that report next month. We'll simply receive it and send it to Kathy's committee, the River Use Committee, to identify a priority list of those items. We have, you see on the report today, there's 123,000 available being held at the Community Foundation for grants. When we decide how we want to use that, we'll put that request forward. We have about 197,000 that we're holding here in the city accounts that we had received in past interest money. So that's the funds that will be looked at on how to use those for those projects. So I need a motion to receive that, please. Cast your vote. And that passes. Item B is the Oklahoma River Maintenance Project update.
Good afternoon. My name is Jess Shumway, Oklahoma City Public Works. We have a few items on the list that are new. We're still anticipating releasing a work order for sediment removal in the basin upstream, and the funding for that will be provided through COPTA. Our SCADA system contract, we've got some additional items ordered, just again, more sensors and things that keep the automated system up and running. We also repaired some cameras at the May Dam. Our structural inspection, the report review is for the recommended repairs is now completed. We'll be looking to start that soon. We did have a boat ramp that was deteriorated for some that had, it's been around the river for quite some time. This was close to the Dale site and was actually one of the drag boat races that was held up there. And that boat ramp was there, but it was in rough shape, so we went ahead and removed that and rechannelized the river.
So you just removed the ramp and redid the bank, is that what you did?
Correct. Eastern, Crest Gate 2, some of the inspections we had, started noticing that we had some faulty movement in the gate, and so we went ahead and removed the cylinders, and we're inspecting those now. You'll see an attached photo here in a moment of kind of the view from the vessels and whatnot that they used to remove the cylinders. Our maintenance facility addition plans have been submitted for staff for review and permitting. That's ongoing. Our floating dredge activity, we received a trailer actually as of Friday. That'll allow us to move our city dredge from the sediment basin upstream to the river lakes. Once the dredge is in the river lakes, though, we'll be able to pass through the boat locks and hopefully gather quite a bit of sediment in the known areas. And our river section removed 14 3/4 tons for the month of August.
Any questions on the report? Thank you. Need a motion to receive that? Cast your vote.
Trustee Casperite, how do you vote? Yes.
That item passes. Item C is the quarterly River Sport Foundation update. Mike?
Okay, good afternoon. Councilman Stonecipher, you're going to have to hear this again. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. It's been a very, very busy summer with all of the events going on. To kick it off, I thought I'd share some of the progress that's been made. And by the way, that's a photo that was taken last week. If you're ever inclined to come out at 6:30 in the morning, come on out and we'll give you a ride and you can see wonderful sunrises like that. So go ahead. We had University of Oklahoma football team was out and they did a team building activity. It was very successful right before their first game, so we'll take credit for at least their first game. And they formed they went rafting, surfing, they did all the activities in the Whitewater area, and really is kind of representational of the kind of team building activities that we can offer to the community, and they want to make this a tradition. We do this with many others, but that's an area that continues to grow. You can see the streetcar that had Red Bull Rapids promoted on it, as well as all over town. So there was we heavily promoted that event with Red Bull. And then off to the right on that is Times Square. So Oklahoma is promoting the state in a prominent location right in the center of Times Square. And you can see the River Sport promotion that's up there through May. So it's a great publicity for the city and the state. Go ahead. As far as the financial update is concerned, a few comments on this. You can see the income side and the revenues and the expense side. We took on this major international event in March, so it kind of fell outside of our budget. So that was an additional expense that we didn't anticipate. It did correlate with some additional revenue. We had some dynamics that affected our revenue this year. Particularly our Lake Overholser and Lake Hefner operations were suspended due to the facility at Lake Hefner, the ceiling caving in, and so the Water Trust had to basically close that building and kind of trying to evaluate what the next step is. But that made a big hit on what we could do at Lake Hefner. And then Lake Overholser, similar but different issue where the AC of all years went out, and it was a supply chain issue where we're still waiting. We still did operate, but it did impact our operations from the cafe standpoint and some of the rentals. We also noted that, we had some really strong weekends, some of those triple-digit weeks, literally in July, did have an impact. Even though people do want to, I think you'd think want to be in the water, it was just almost too hot for people to get out. So, but we did have other weekends that were bigger than previous. But I think that did impact things, as well as a general in the industry. What we found is a little bit of a softening because of the economy and people's the inflation and spending. But nevertheless, we tried to make up with it. We had a really strong year in food and beverage, and that was a lot. Our per caps in the venue were a lot higher. So I think that's attributed to we have a chef, and we had a great menu, and people coming out just to eat, and also our retail as well. And then you can see the reviews have been really strong for this year, so that was good to see that. Go ahead and move on. Red Bull Rapids was a huge event. That was the first time it had ever been hosted in North America. We had Red Bull officials in from all over the world, the people that have hosted this in other parts of the world, and they were just blown away. They said this is by far the best one they've ever had, and will serve as a model for future events. They really are very good at what they do in terms of promoting and viral videos and things like that. So I think it's really going to serve us well in terms of putting a different view or perspective on Oklahoma City, as this is played all over the world, and people had a blast. There was over 5,000 people in the Whitewater venue on that day, so it was totally packed. We are trying to determine, and we are planning on figuring out a way to continue this, and maybe a little different in the future about the build your own boat and race kind of idea. So it was very well received. So people got very creative as well, as you can see in those images. Go ahead. And that same day, we had the World Paddle Sports Festival. Again, that was really well received. That was the events that were relocated from Moscow. You can see the images of the Ukrainian athletes that were here. Really tried to make them, really opened our arms up, and they had just a wonderful experience. Went surfing. They did all the different activities, and just were very appreciative of Oklahoma City. You can see the production truck, and this was an internationally produced and televised event. Go ahead and next screen. And you can see the scope of the event. I mean, from athletes all visiting First Americans Museum to the stand-up paddleboarding event, which is a whole different new kind of event to be hosted on the river. We had the top stand-up paddleboard athletes in the world here. Most of them never been to Oklahoma City, and we're very impressed and hope we will have them back, and I'm sure we will. But so it was great feedback. You can see the pyrotechnics. We're the only ones that have ever done this, so it kind of mixed the pyrotechnics with the racing, and that showed up well on television. And then the president of the International Federation was here, also raving about Oklahoma City in the event. We had Oklahoma City Public School students that carried the flags for the different countries that were represented, and that was really fun to see, and they seemed to enjoy that. And then the World Party, again, was a great event. So go ahead and move on. Then that was immediately followed by with the Riversport Swiftwater Rescue Conference. We had Australian Swiftwater rescue teams here, as well as the athletes. So it was kind of interesting to see this. It's truly a global conference. You can see from that picture how many first responders were here from all over the country, and they practiced and learned and used our facility to really hone their skills that we believe will save lives, and several from the Houston area. We had first responders from Florida. Obviously, that will come in handy with the hurricane moving in, and what they learned through everything from using ropes to using boats, going through different types of scenarios. And then they put that to test in a competition. That's the first time that's ever been done, and that is actually being put together for a television show as well. And this event will come back next year. They expect it to be about double in size, so that's going to be really interesting, but just very well received by all who attended. Go ahead and move on. And then we call it Thrive Outside events. We had many, many different community-oriented events. I want to highlight just a few. You can see on there, you know, from our disabled veterans events, kayak football, and then we had the inaugural River Bowl, which was in August with the OKC Black Alumni Coalition, alumni from historically black high schools, and they came and went dragon boat racing and rowing, and had a great time. That has really helped us form a better connection with the community on the northeast side, and in fact bringing in kids from that community. We also have a very aggressive outreach effort that's underway with South Oklahoma City. We have our youth rowing league well in action right now. They'll have their racing at towards the end of October. And what was really cool about this is at the World Paddle Sports Festival, these athletes, they were athletes, but these children that came out who were paddling in our Thrive Outside initiative got to paddle, as part of that world event as the athletes were preparing to race themselves. So we really try to integrate the community side with the elite athlete Olympian side. Go ahead and move on. And then just a few metrics. We had over 440 campers that were on scholarship, kids that came to our summer camps. We had the Opportunity Initiative Day where kids got free, they got QR codes to register for free to our camps, and that was popular. And you can see our camp partners continue to expand from Boys and Girls Club to Sunbeam to Native American Student Services and on and on. And so it's we're really pleased by how this Thrive Outside initiative has really continued to grow and prosper. We go ahead and go on to the next slide. And actually, one more thing I wouldn't say. If you go back, there were over 903 youth who came for free on field trips from the surrounding area. These aren't just the kids that came on field. There was field trips from schools from across the state that came to River Sport. These were the free field trips for kids in the urban core that came. That was very well received. That is going to actually more than double next year through a partnership that we're working on, so we're excited about that. We currently have our Youth Kayak League going on right now as well. Go ahead. So upcoming this weekend is the event that really started it all for us, the Oklahoma Regatta Festival, OCU head of the Oklahoma. I said earlier, I checked the registration. We have 50 teams here coming here from all across America. This is very different than the other events we had earlier this summer. These are collegiate teams, so collegiate rowing teams. OU has a new head coach, and she's got her team ready. She's an Olympian, and that's bringing in some more competition as well. And it should be a really great weekend. Friday night's our corporate racing and our youth racing. We have, among the most dedicated people training for this weekend are our seniors who are dragon boating. They're here every day getting ready for their big race this weekend. So senior centers, several different senior centers that are going to be dragon boat racing on Friday night. We have promoted this idea of teaming up in Oklahoma City like what OU football did, where teams will come and they'll have pasta and eat on Friday night, and they'll get to go surf and do different team building activities that only you can do in Oklahoma City. And so it's a great way to sort of form that bond in Oklahoma City that will then serve them well throughout the collegiate racing season. So go ahead. And that event will go on all weekend, Friday, Saturday, with the night racing, both Friday and Saturday night. The head racing, which is the longer distance timed events, all day on Saturday, and then Sunday. And then other upcoming events, Outdoor October will be kicking off, which is where we really promote that Thrive Outside initiative with, again, the Regatta Festival, Biketober, and Dogtober. So Biketober, the second week of October with bike racing. We're going to be announcing and unveiling the plans for the bike park expansion. And then Dogtober, we're going to have partnering with Barquet and doing Sup With Your Pup and Puppy Bowl, and they'll be showing the football games on the new Jumbotron in River Sport that was donated thanks to OG&E. So, and then it's not on here that we are still planning our winter glow activities that are going to be coming up in December. We'll have our winter activities every weekend, the Nordic adventures, the skating, the skiing, and then the holiday boat parade will be coming back as well. So we'll get more information for you out on that here real soon. So with that, if there's any questions you have, I'll take them.
Any questions?
I said at council meeting this morning that I know the last 60 days have been really tough on Mike, but with the Red Bull Rapids event, the Paddle Sports Festival, and the Rescue Conference, this isn't just local publicity. We're getting global publicity, and I just want to congratulate Mike for the hard work, and it's starting to pay off, I think, and it's really good for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's you had a busy few months, I know, going on down there, and with the Barcade getting ready to open up, and the other amenities you're looking at improving down there, it ought to just keep getting busier.
Yeah, well, that's what we're hoping. So we thank you for your support, and I'd love for you to come down this weekend. If you come down, certainly we can get you passes and all of that. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Need a motion to receive that report? Cast your vote.
You vote.
And that item passes. Item D is a revocable permit with Front Row Productions LLC for Polo on the River. 3 dates, October 15 through 16, October 29 through 30, and November 18 through 90, using the River Park on South Avenue. Do we have anybody here from Front Row? Okay. This is the group that approached us about a possible long-term lease. Kathy's committee recommended that they do a few on an individual permit situation and see how it goes, and then we'll go from there and see how it works. Something that excited to see how it goes. Anything else, Kathy, you want to talk about?
No, but if you have an opportunity to go down there for any of those dates and check it out, we'd be interested in knowing what you thought.
Okay.
Thank you.
Need a motion to recommend that? Cast your vote. And that passes. Item E is a revocable permit with Riversport Foundation for the Riversport Duathlon, November 6th, using the Boathouse District, Repart Park, Park Plaza Zone, Roe River, and the North River Trail. Any questions on this? Need a motion? Cast your vote.
Trustee Casperite. And Kathy,
I don't have it on my screen yet.
you vote aye.
And that passes. Item 6 is the claims docket. Have one item on it. Any questions? Motion? Cast your vote.
Aye.
And that passes. Item 7 is comments from staff. You have the director's report.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today. I just wanted to call your attention in the report to the event that we're having on October 10th for Larry McAtee Park dedication out at Crystal Lake. So I hope all of you have received an invitation via email to this event, and if you haven't, let us know. We'll make sure you get one, but we really hope that we'll see all of you there to help celebrate Mr. McAtee and his longtime service to the city. Other than that, I ask you to receive the report. I'll entertain any questions you have.
One item I'd like to point out, it's in her report, again this year, they've done it for multiple years, Waste Connections donated $25,000 to our endowment at the Community Foundation. We're very happy to receive that. Any other comments or questions? Motion?
Thank you.
Mr. Vogt?
Vote aye.
And that item passes. Item 8, comments by trustees. None. What few of us are here anyway. Item 9 is comments by citizens. Any citizens want to be heard? We are adjourned.